Welcome to my very windy, noisy, makeshift underneath a bizarre pop-up in my yard potting bench where we are going to do the corn project, which is we are going to make this little pot, the house, for some corn. So I have some starts, but I'm also going to use another pot to start seeds. So we'll have 2 batches of corn. And the reason that I'm potting these in 2 pots is because we're gonna start renovating the garden, but we still have, I think, solid 90 days of hot weather. So corn it is. Corn does well in pots because it can be about 1 inch apart and the roots don't get too crazy deep. So what I recommend is at least 12 inches wide by 12 inches deep. This pot is exactly that. In fact, it's probably closer to 18 inches each way. This has old soil in it, so I'm not gonna totally get rid of it. I'm just gonna get rid of the top few inches, and I'm going to amend it like I would a raised bed. And I'm gonna add, in this instance, a little bit of potting soil that's really yummy and then add some worm castings. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of veggie fertilizer just to give these corn babies a boost. So I have 2 types of corn. I've got corn for popping. Hello. And I have sweet white corn here. So I'm gonna do all the corn for popping in here, and alongside it, I'm actually gonna plant some flowers because it's just gonna look so pretty. So I'm gonna put some poppy seeds around the edge of this one, and then in the other pot with the sweet popping corn, I think I may do some dill, which is a great companion. And I just think it'll be fun to test out how long our summer really is, and to utilize these pots in a really pretty way that adds character to the garden. Okay, so I have, I'd say, 3 inches of, oh, that's a randomness, 3 inches of open soil here, and there were sweet potatoes in here. Let me make sure there's nothing lingering. Okay, got this guy. I saw some, like, things poking up and out. I'm just gonna make sure. I'm always, like, transitioning things in and out of these pots, so I'm just gonna make sure there's nothing like the sweet potato deep in the depths of here, although well, what do you know? And I sliced right into it. What a rookie move. Anyways, I'll probably eat that. We'll see if there are any more. That's been in there for literally a year. So we've emptied some of the soil out. We don't need that. Let's bring this guy front and center. The soil is actually fairly nutritious. It's actually been supporting life, so that's good. I'm gonna add, like I said, a little bit of this fresh potting soil to create some air, aid in the drainage. I'd say I just added like 1 inch layer. And then these worm castings, which are just so good for the garden. I just got like a bit of soil. Gonna open this guy up, and this is just worm poop. Worm castings are super important in my garden because worms typically get eaten by birds, which is not the case for everybody, luckily for you. So I just put this pure, delicious black gold into my veggie beds to amend the soil. Even mid-season, I'll side dress veggies that seem to have some sort of, like, if their growth has just been stunted or stopped and it just seems like we're lacking density and nutrients, worm castings, always a good bet. It's very similar to adding compost, but just sort of supercharged. So I'd say I've just added like 3 cups of the worm castings. Let me set that aside. I'm just gonna mix this into the top layer. If I see any like weird little rootsies, out with those. Okay, so we can even add a little more. I want everything to really be rump and pump, which I don't really even know what that means, but I'm just gonna fill her up. The more soil, the better. And actually, not true. I'm gonna save that for, okay, let me get some veggie fertilizer. I've got some all-purpose 462 NPK, and I'm also just gonna sort of massage that into the soil here, just right at the very top, just so it's barely being covered by soil. And that'll get these popping corn, it'll get to the roots of these guys. So this says, you just always like to read the tags, right? Full sun, water medium, 1 inch apart, days to maturity 112. Summer/fall. Hello, perfect. I love you. Popping corn, how fun. So, like you do, I'm gonna take these guys out. They need a new pot. Those guys are looking a little root bound. So we're gonna try and loosen the roots up a little bit to help them take hold and like get in the soil and be happy. So you're gonna put here. Oof, buddy, so sorry about your luck. Actually, happy for you. New home. Just bury this guy over here. And then this little mama, hello, over here. I have a feeling, you can tell when these plants, they just feel bound, you know, feel tight, like sad, a little bit heavy. So we are gonna make you happy in this pot. You guys, corn is something I think people wouldn't think of to put in a pot, but I mean, this is a great patio situation. The thing is, I'm probably gonna need to hand pollinate my corn. It needs to be in a bundle. They need each other to pollinate, so that's okay. We'll show you how to do that when the time comes. Okay, so just right next door to this guy, in you go. Everyone's still an inch apart. Honestly, could probably put like more corn in here, but we are going to do some companion planting, so maybe we'll leave some space. But let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and this is 6, so maybe we'll just put a little bit of this. These guys are smaller, and we'll add some of those over here, back here. Why not? We need to maximize. We've got to maximize yield. All right, so mixing. This will be fabulous. We'll see. And here you go. I'm actually gonna put a little bit more potting soil on top of everybody and water them in. That's it. For this first planting, I'm gonna water until I see some come through the bottom, and then I'll actually set this pot onto a little movable tray, a little tray on wheels. After I do this big deep watering, I won't water as thoroughly, although I am leaving town soon, so maybe I will. But medium water, I would say, you don't need to soak the soil through every single time, unless you're expecting a heat wave. So I'll show you. This is the little base I'll put it on, so I can move this guy around. It makes it easier to lift off, and this has the wheel lock, which is what you want if you've got children. So there you go. Easy peasy, you guys. We just potted up some corn. I'm gonna plant some seeds in here for some little poppies, and we've got ourselves a whole new place to grow veggies. Okay, I got my seeds out just to show you. In this guy, I'm gonna do the poppies. I have dill also, and it says to just scatter and rake in lightly, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm basically just gonna scatter some of these all around the very edge of this pot, and just like, you know, sort of rake them in with my fingers, tickle them in very gently. These are California poppies, because we in Cali, baby, born and raised, can't escape it. go. So I'm literally just gonna sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. They kind of bounce around. And it's very strong, will survive. There we go. And I'm like literally just barely like tickling the surface. Like just, you're tickling your baby's back. And that's it. We're gonna keep these guys really moist at the top too so that those poppies will germinate, but we're done. I'm gonna go put these out in the garden so they don't miss any watering and, you know, just whisper some sweet nothings periodically.